welcome back to I Didn't Know That Was in the Bible. Today's topic is Satan is not a serpent. Now when you read in the book of Genesis, the interaction between Adam and Eve with Satan, he's usually depicted as a serpent. Well, that really is a misrepresentation, because if you actually look at the Hebrew word for serpent, the word is nakash, and nakash means shining one. And from that mistranslation, or at least interpretation of that translation, they get this idea of a serpent. And the reason for this, of course, is fairly obvious. It's because when a serpent bites, it is usually a very hot, warm, stinging sensation, like something burning. And so that's where they get this idea of shining, or shining one. So they've taken the translation and actually gave a misrepresentation of it. And of course, when you look at art, if you look at even in a Bible, some of the Bibles, and they show this representation of Adam and Eve, and the devil, it usually shows a serpent twined up in a tree speaking with them. And of course, it is ridiculous, because if you look at what Paul has to say in 2 Corinthians 11:3, he says that Satan beguiled Eve. Now, beguiled means seduced. And I can't imagine Eve being seduced by a snake. However, shining one, which could represent a beautiful angel, that you could believe. Now also in 2 Corinthians 11:14, Paul speaks of Satan as an angel of light. Now that makes more sense. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to really draw the curtains back, basically, to show you who Satan really is, and to hopefully get rid of this whole imagery that may be built up in your mind through reading the Bible, reading the mistranslation, basically, using the word serpent, in order to clarify in your mind who Satan really is. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Ezekiel Chapter 28, and we're going to be covering verses 12 through 19. Okay, so here we go. Son of man, take up a lament concerning the king of Tyre, and say to him, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Now, the Son of Man he's referring to, of course, is the prophet Ezekiel. And the king of Tyre, well, Tyre means rock. And elsewhere in the Bible, it's mentioned that their rock, small r, is not our rock, capital R. So our rock, of course, is Jesus Christ. That's the rock in which we base our faith on. But the small rock is really those children of Satan. So the king of these children of Satan is, of course, Satan himself. And so this is who's being addressed here. And it'll become clearer as we read on. You were the model of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. And God made him that way. He was made perfect in beauty. He was created perfect. Verse 13. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone adorned you, ruby, topaz, and emerald, crystallite, onyx, and jasper, sapphire, turquoise, and beryl. Your settings and mountings were made of gold. On the day you were created, they were prepared. You were an anointed as a guardian cherub, for I adorned you. And that's the point. He was made a cherub who was supposed to guard the mercy seat. But instead, he wanted to sit on that mercy seat. He wanted to be the Savior. And that was his downfall. Okay, let's continue on. For so I ordained you. You were on the holy mountain of God. You walked among the fiery stones. You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created till wickedness was found in you. Through your widespread trade you were filled with violence, and you sinned. So I drove you in disgrace from the mount of God, and I expelled you, O guardian cherub, from among the fiery stones. And indeed that will come. Right now Michael is holding him up in heaven. But as we get closer to the end, he will release him down onto the earth. And that's what's being spoken of here. And again, I want to back up a little bit. You saw that he was in the Garden of Eden. He was present there. So there again is proof that that's where he met with Adam and Eve. Okay, let's continue on. Verse 17. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. So I threw you to the earth and made a spectacle of you before the kings. By your many sins and dishonest trade, you have desecrated your sanctuaries. So I made a fire come out from you, and it consumed you, and I reduced you to ashes on the ground in the sight of all who were watching. All the nations who knew you are appalled at you. You have come to a horrible end and will be no more. And that indeed is what's going to happen to the Antichrist with the coming of the true Messiah, Jesus Christ. The minute that he makes his appearance, then fire will come from within that of the Antichrist and destroy him and they will be witnessed by all those who are on the earth. Now Satan in spirit will indeed exist. In fact, he will be locked up throughout the millennium period that will follow. And after that millennial period, he'll be released, as they say in the Bible, for a short season to try to tempt those, if it were possible, some of those that were here on the earth. And again, that's probably another topic for another time. The point I do want to make here, though, is you really need to get that image of a snake out of your mind when you're reading about Satan. I guess just as much as you need to get that image that you see of him in red flannel underwear and holding the pitchfork and wearing horns. When the Antichrist comes, he will look like Jesus Christ. He'll be beautiful. And he will even have the wounds in his hands. And he will be very, very convincing. But we are not to accept him. We are to accept the true Christ that will come at the very end after this. So I've said this many times, but if you can pinch yourself and it hurts, when the Antichrist is here, he isn't the true Jesus. It isn't until we are changed basically into spiritual bodies at what they call the seventh trumpet blast, the seventh trump, that we will see the true Christ. So the Antichrist comes first, and then a person claiming that he is Christ, Satan himself, claiming he is Christ, and then the true Christ will come afterwards. And of course his end, as far as in his physical form here on earth, will be fire that will come from within. Okay, so that's my message for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you please, I would ask that you give a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. I ask also that you subscribe and ring that notification bell that'll let you know when any new videos are up. I do appreciate very much you sticking with me and going through these various lessons. I do ask most sincerely that you do spread the word, that you help bring the light of God to a world that is in much need of hearing it, especially during these times of chaos. So again, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful week. God bless you all, and I hope to see you soon.